Hey party people, Techno here, and in this video we're going to be taking a look at another DeFort lock that I have at hand. A few videos ago we looked at a DeFort disk detainer padlock. This is that same disk detainer core pressed into a shutter lock body. I did a little research online to see if I could figure out what the material construction of these locks were, and all reports indicate that they are a nickel-plated cast iron body. That kind of stands to reason because even for the lock size, this is a quite heavy lock. We also have a hardened steel shackle, or at least ostensibly so. I didn't do any hardness tests against this, so I am strictly going off of what is stamped into the shackle, which is not necessarily the most reliable thing in the world. Final note is all the edges on this lock are nicely chamfered. That's not overly refined, but it is utilitarian, and you won't be cutting yourself on the edges of this lock, which is always nice. So, as far as this disk detainer core goes, this uses the same key blade that we saw in the other DeFort lock, and that operation is simply to turn the key 180 degrees, and that opens the lock. Rotating it counterclockwise 180 degrees, and we are back in the locked position here. So to pick this open, we're going to do first take a tool and rotate all of these discs as far clockwise as they will go. And then I will be using the pick that Bosnian Bill Lockpicking Lawyer and Sparrows made to pick up that first disc in the core. We'll get that positioned. These do tension off the first disc. I think there are 7 discs in the lock, counting the one that is used for tensioning, so 6 others that we have to manipulate. And we're going to go ahead and get started with the bottom disc in the stack, which I'll refer to as disc 1. So I'll count backwards from the bottom out. All right. So disc 1, rotating it counterclockwise. However, it didn't really fall into place anywhere, so I'm going to move it back to its original position, and it clicked nicely into place in its most clockwise position. So I think that one was set from the get-go. Disc 2 here. Disc 2 feels like it's firmly in place, so I'm going to bypass that one for the moment and move on to disc 3. Disc 3 feels the same, so we're going to move on and let's go to disc 4. Disc 4 is binding, and I may have slipped off of disc 4 there. I can't tell if it slipped into position or if I just came off, so I'm going to just double check that one. Yeah, a little tough to tell. So let's move on to disc 5. Rotated disc 5 counterclockwise, and this opened right up. So that's not too promising, considering that it seems like the only disc there that I actually moved out of the most clockwise position was disc 5. So the bitting for this particular lock and the placement of the discs is not ideal, let's say. Certainly not as challenging as the padlock version of this. So at the same time, just like the padlock, I didn't feel any false gates in those discs as I was rotating them, so there aren't any additional security measures in that core. One could make the argument, especially here in North America, that disk detainer cores require specialized tools and specialized skills. However, these tools are becoming more widely available, quality tools at that, like the Sparrows version, versus the typical old disk detainer locks that were relatively cheap from overseas sources, but were not the highest quality and tended to break often. At least the tips broke often. Also, the knowledge around this, we can't really rely on security through obscurity as a rule, because platforms like video sharing sites and many of those content creators, such as Bosnian Bill, Locknoob, Lockpicking Lawyer, and many others that I'm not mentioning here, are sharing that knowledge so that we can achieve security through better design and not simply through set of, let's say, you know, well-kept secrets. In any case, I very much appreciate you watching this video. Thank you. Until next time, take care, and I will talk to you later.